Right below me, near the shore of the Mississippi River, used to be a standalone island where many famous and deadly stories of duels took place, one of which includes President Abraham Lincoln. This was called Bloody Island, and it used to be in the middle of the river between Missouri and Illinois, but neither state governed it, leading to its use for many illegal activities, including dueling. Let's quickly jump through some infamous duels that took place here, and there are probably some names you'll recognize. A legislator named Charles Lucas and future U.S. Senator Thomas Benton got in quite a name-calling match in 1817, as they were arguing about a land dispute involving property tax. This escalated further when Lucas said Benton should be able to vote in an election because he hadn't paid his property tax. Benton maturely responded by calling Lucas a little puppy. Lucas said that's the last straw, Benton, and he challenged them to a duel on Bloody Island, which resulted in Lucas being shot in the throat and Benton being shot in the knee. But after they both healed up, Lucas started bad-mouthing Benton again, and they had another duel on Bloody Island, which resulted in Benton killing Lucas. But it's all good. It happened on Bloody Island, so there's not going to be a charge for murder. And you know what? Let's elect this guy to the U.S. Senate. It was also not uncommon for duelers to back out at the last minute. Let's talk about Abraham Lincoln. In 1842, before his presidency, Abraham Lincoln was stirring the pot with a guy named James Shields. Basically, as a prank, Abraham Lincoln was writing letters to the local newspaper, making fun of Shields under the name Rebecca. Lincoln's future wife, Mary Todd, thought this was hilarious, and she too started writing letters to the newspaper, making fun of Shields under the name Kathleen. But Shields soon learned their true identities, and he challenged Lincoln to a duel, which he accepted to defend Mary Todd's honor. But Lincoln got to choose the weapons, and instead of pistols, he said they were going to duel with broadswords. What a badass. He knew he would have the reach advantage because he was 6'4" and Shields was 5'9". So when the two met on Bloody Island, Shields chickened out at the last second because he saw Lincoln with a sword and knew he would be at a significant disadvantage. Probably the most famous duel to go down on Bloody Island took place between Thomas Biddle and Spencer Pettus. Both politicians. It's always the politicians. So Pettus was bad-mouthing Thomas's brother, and Thomas was bad-mouthing back. You know the drill. So Pettus challenged Thomas to a duel. Thomas accepted the duel, but he set the space in between them during the duel to be 5 feet with pistols. 5 feet. I mean, if you're dueling with pistols 5 feet apart, the guns are basically touching each other. Thomas was just assuming this distance would deter Pettus from accepting the duel. But nope, he called his bluff. They went to Bloody Island, fired at each other, and surprise, surprise, they both died. Not only was this a high-profile duel with ridiculous circumstances, but they had a crowd of almost 2,000 spectators on the island watching it as well. Bloody Island was also the site of the famous duel between governors in 1856, which was exactly as it sounds, a duel between the future governor of Missouri, Benjamin Brown, and the future Confederate governor of Missouri, Thomas Reynolds, during the Civil War. The duel ended with Brown being shot in the leg and Reynolds leaving the island without a scratch. The first Missouri Secretary of State also dueled on the island, after he was critical in the local paper of the United States Surveyor General, named William Rector. Rector's brother challenged Thomas to a duel, which resulted in Thomas's death. But Bloody Island eventually came to an end when the citizens of St. Louis realized it was getting bigger every year. And eventually it would get so big it would prevent ships from docking in the city, which would kill the local economy. But an officer in the Army Corps of Engineers had this brilliant idea to divert the river in such a way it would push the island eventually into East St. Louis, Illinois, saving the day. Well, it worked, as you can see now, and surprisingly that officer's name was Robert E. Lee, the eventual leader of the Confederate Army during the Civil War. So thanks for saving the city, but not anything else you did after that. Check back into my page for more St. Louis content. Send me a message on TikTok or Instagram if you want an STL Guy t-shirt or hoodie. And also I'm doing a new podcast called That STL Pod. Check it out on Spotify and YouTube.